you get this information. Please, if you know anybody else in this course.
Oh, recording has started.
There we go.
Louis is calling here. I've recorded it. I will just send you the link.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, Colin. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I don't know why I didn't have those rights, but you've got. Thank you, Colin. Thank you very much. Okay, so hello, everybody. Again, for those that are watching the recording, hello and welcome. These are a couple of things that we're going to be looking at tonight. As I said, just stop me if there's anything that doesn't make sense, or if I could elaborate on anything. But before we start, a quick question to us all. How are we feeling at this stage in the course? If I can ask you to just leave us a comment in the chat, just with that emoji that best represents how you are feeling at the moment. Give you a couple of seconds to just give us some feels there. You can be honest. You can be honest. If you just want to use sorry, Carla, you can just use the okay, some on the left, some feeling like Jack Black on the left, some feeling like Jack Black on the right here. Oh, I'll give it another couple of minutes. I'm very interested to see what the responses are. a nice range of options. If you guys want to add emojis, and if you're using Chrome, you can actually right-click, and then you'll see there's an option for emojis and symbols that you can use, and there you can add an emoji. If you just right-click on a phone, obviously, it's easy to do that. Okay, so I can see that it's a range of responses. It's a range of responses. And you know, I think an important kind of message that I want to bring across to you all is that yes, this is a course that has quite high expectations, and it's an intermediate course. It's not a beginner's course, right? It's not a complete basics introduction for novices. It assumes some skills and experience already, and the aim really is to try and extend you and trying to push you outside of your comfort zone so that you can truly internalize and develop some skills that will not only benefit you personally in your practice as an educator, but that will also benefit your students in the way that you're bringing life to the classroom, and also to your colleagues at your school that you can share new skills with, because by the end of this, you'll be a HyperDocs master. All right. So, you know, the best way to actually to learn, as we've been preaching in the course itself, is to actually do it. All right. So we're trying this whole course is based on a practical approach where you are applying your skills as you are developing them. All right. And that means getting your hands dirty. In this case, that means trying things that are new, experimenting, perhaps making some mistakes along the way, but then trying to learn from them. All right. So if you are struggling, if you're struggling, it can be a good thing, because it means that you are actually challenging yourself, and it means that you are doing something that you haven't done before. All right. And if there's no discomfort at all, or if there's nothing that's challenging about it, then what are we learning? All right. Obviously, we want to make sure it's clear and that you are not feeling lost, of course, but a challenge is good. And if it feels like you're getting your hands a bit dirty, and it's messy and it's difficult, good. That's how we are learning here. Okay. So with that, I would like you to please once again go to Mentimeter. I'm going to share the link in classroom for you in a second. In the chat here, not on classroom. Okay, you will find a link there, guys, to a question. And the question that I have got for you at this stage in the course, from what you have learned, according to your perception, how are HyperDocs different to traditional teaching methods? All right. How is it different to business as usual is the question. All right. So if we go take a look there, you can give an answer. Please open that link. It's in the chat. I will share this slide with you so that you can see what other people are saying. Okay, I'm hearing it's more interactive than traditional teaching. I'm also seeing more intense planning and structuring. Absolutely. It almost forces you to do that. Okay, an emphasis on self-exploration. I really like that. Okay, and it says these answers says a lot about the traditional teaching methods that have been in education for so long. You know, if HyperDocs shows how we can take the passive, more kind of boring traditional ways of teaching and actually build in more interactivity, build in more creativity. And yes, it forces us to apply much more planning and structuring to our lessons, which I think can only be a good thing for ourselves and for the lesson and for the learners. If we really have to consider how we're going to build it out, indeed, it requires more planning, and that's why we've got this course. That's why we focus so much on the development and the planning phase, and why we're giving you time as well between the module tasks to build on them. Okay, well, from these responses, I'm quite happy to see these responses, because it shows that there's definitely been a fair amount of insight with regards to how to what the point is of HyperDocs. All right. The learners at the center, absolutely. Student-led learning. Different types of media, not just textbooks. Absolutely. I love seeing the word interactive. Dit vat alles netjies op een plek by mekaar. Absolutely. A coherent space where a whole series of activities is together. And I think that's where the planning and the structuring thing can be quite nice, because instead of just thinking about our planning as being lesson to lesson, when we're developing a HyperDoc that contains a series of activities, it could be for all fit in one lesson, but it also allows us to plan out a week, 2 weeks, maybe even a whole project can be built on a HyperDoc, which means that we are setting a path for our learners way ahead so that we don't have to have the stresses as educators of day by day, just trying to put things together. All right. It really helps us to lay out that path. Lovely. I really like these responses, guys. I'm going to save them and I'll share some of them on Classroom as well. But I really, really like these responses. It really seems like you are getting it, and that makes me more happy than anything. Thank you so much for those responses. If you want to add still, go for it. But I'm going to move on now for the rest here. Okay, absolutely. So HyperDocs, more interactive, more student-led, more opportunities for creativity, and an opportunity for us to plan and structure a coherent series of learning activities that fit together towards predetermined learning outcomes, where we have innovative 21st century learning methods being joined with what we know about pedagogy and what makes for a good learning experience. So wonderful. Great stuff, guys. So as you know, while we've been working on our HyperDocs, you've been looking at examples and you've been learning about a whole bunch of tools and so on. What we've also gave you is a skills checklist for you to use so that you can track your own learning journey. I want to ask you to please go and open up the skills checklist. If you've haven't seen it before, you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the opportunity to open it. All right, you'll be able to find the skills checklist on the front page of the on the home page of the website. of the learning website. Please go and open that up. I would like to just quickly refer to that. Thank you to those that have already opened it now. I will just quickly drop the link in the chat for you as well. Okay, so you'll find the link there. Now, of course, the skills checklist, the way we've linked it there is set to view only, so you can't edit it. But now let's say you wanted to have your own version of that document. Can anybody in the chat group maybe tell us what are you going to do? At the moment, it's view only. You can't edit it. But let's say you want your own version of that document. Are there any skills that you've learned in this course that you could maybe use in order to... Insaf, 10,000 points to use. Thank you. Make a copy. Okay, guys. So from the beginning of this course, we were trying to practice the kinds of skills that are relevant to a HyperDoc, right? So some of you might have figured out that that's what's busy going on. But from the beginning, we wanted to show you that if you wanted to share a doc with somebody, there are many different ways to go from you as the educator creating a document and then your students or participants then taking that and working with it. One of our docs you could edit directly. Some of the other docs, like this one, you have to make a copy of. But the skill of making a copy is very, very important, kind of essential when it comes to working with HyperDocs. Okay. So a nice one, guys. Let me just open up this whole window. Okay, great. So guys, we can just look at the skills checklist, right? You're not going to submit the skills checklist, okay? That is not can you see my screen? No. Let me just open it up again. Okay.
Can't see it yet, Louis.
Can't see it yet. Okay. Can't see it yet. Let's try now. No? Still not.
Still not.
Hey, sorry, guys. Let me just go. This is very frustrating having to go out and in every time. I'm a Google Meet fan myself, but no comment.
There we go.
Okay, great stuff. Okay, guys, so you're not going to submit the skills checklist. Ultimately, that is just for you to be able to track your own progress, all right? Also, it's a long course. There's a lot of information. I think it's very helpful to be able to look back and go, oh my goodness, look at all these things that I have learned as time has gone by. I might feel frustrated by one aspect, but overall, this learning journey, you can tick off skills and new things that you've learned as we go. All right. So please use it, reflect on it. Also, when it comes, this is some of the main things that the mentors are looking at when they are commenting on your Google Doc. Okay. Some of you have totally jumped the gun and you're working within module 3 already and so on. That's fine. But please, the mentors are going to comment based on the journey as we are walking it together. All right, focusing on one thing at a time. Nothing wrong with jumping the gun and wanting to work ahead. Absolutely no problem. I see somebody's even handed in their course challenge. What I will say, though, is working on it bit by bit, I think will help you to not feel too overwhelmed, not feel too stressed, and help you do it in a way that you are really giving your full attention to every step of the journey. All right. So on that, if I can ask you to please go back to the Mentimeter. Please go back to the Mentimeter link that I shared with you. There's a second slide over there where I would like to find out which of those Google skills you found the most challenging. Let's see if you can open it up. I just want to check that you're able to do it.
Louis, can you just share that link again for them?
Sure.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. There you go. The link is there. Okay, so what you'll see is I've listed the skills up until this point. All right, and please just select one that you personally found the most challenging from that list. Okay, this just help us get a sense of where you are, what we might need to go back and work on, and perhaps can add some extra materials for you if there's something that you are struggling with. We can try and add some some extra support for you there. But please go have a vote. I think this is very insightful for us. I know there was quite some challenges with accessing the version history. That's definitely one of the more advanced skills for the course. It was not a required skill, or to be able to pass the course. You didn't need to do it, but it's very useful. Does anybody want to offer you can put your hand up. I'd actually like to hear your voices. Anybody have a suggestion for why revision history is such an important or such a useful thing when it comes to something like a HyperDoc? Does anybody have a hand that they would like to raise? If none of them were challenging, you don't have to. Jeanette, let's hear from you. What do you think it's useful?
Hi everyone. I'm working on two devices now because my computer doesn't have sound, and I'm on my cell phone quickly. Yes, that was something new to me, and I've been working on Google Docs for quite a while. I think it's very useful because this is a document that you can work, the same document you can work on over and over and over again and make changes to it. So if somewhere you find you've made a mistake, how wonderful now for me to know that I can go back to the history and go and find where I made the mistake and go back to solve my problem, or even just to go and check maybe when did I change certain things. So that's really wonderful. But can I ask a question on this while I'm here?
Yes.
While I'm on a sound?
Yes.
Louis, because what happened now, the HyperDoc checklist, I saved it last week.
Yes.
But now it shows I'm only a viewer. I can't do anything. And the same is happening with my HyperDoc. Every time that I work on it, and last night while working on it, it locked. It shows me I'm only a viewer. So I submitted it last week to Rivka, and then when I wanted to work on module 3, I had to copy it, make a copy again, and then add her on again. What am I doing?
Right. Jeanette, can I ask, did you actually submit your Google Doc for the module 1 task on Classroom?
No, I just used that beautiful little done and dusted.
Okay. Okay, thanks. That's strange. Because if
I'm out now. Again, if I want to go on now, I've got to go and make a copy again. So at this stage, I can't view the history. It's every time a new thing.
Louis, can I also add to that, because I was busy commenting on hers from the very beginning, and so when she made a copy and she sent the copy after she has edited, I saw that my previous comments were still there as well.
Yeah.
So I also found that very strange that she was.
I can't see her. I can't see your previous comments. I only see the ones that my partner has made now.
Okay. I actually saw my previous comments. It's so weird that I saw my previous comments as well. Our conversation that we had was still there.
Because when you make a copy of a doc, you can copy the comments with it. The version history will be lost with a new copy because the version history starts again at that point in time.
Yes.
I would love to try and figure this one out, because it's a bit of a sounds a new thing to me. If you submit your Google Doc on Classroom, then you won't be able to edit it until it's been returned.
I know that. Yes, because that's been happening
Yes,
to that
right.
happened to me in the past. But this is a
Right.
mystery to me because I was busy working on it last night, and suddenly I couldn't work on it anymore. It just clicked onto a viewer. It's got that little eye, and it shows me I can't even make a comment on it or anything now.
Very
And
strange.
I really don't want to make a copy again of it now. I want to
No,
carry on the
no,
one
no,
I
no.
visit.
Please try
Thank you.
and avoid making a bunch of extra copies, because it also means that
Yes.
it makes it difficult for us to be able to then check what's been happening. But Jeanette,
Yes, I actually I saw some other people also commented or they asked questions in the stream. Maybe
yes,
other people are experiencing the same problem. I'll appreciate it if you can solve it.
sure.
Thank you.
So for some people that mentioned in the stream, I saw it's because they submitted the task on under module 1. I returned them this morning, so it should be fine. But that was the reason for some people. If you've made a copy of a doc, right, then you are the owner. You are the owner of the document, so you get to call the shots, right? Nobody else should be able to lock you out of it, right? So if I just want to look at this example over here. So when that happens to you, Jeanette, when that happens to you, any of you, just go and click on the share button at the top and see who else is here. Because as you can see, I created this document. I made a copy of this. I'm the owner. Nobody can change that. And I'm the one that can give or take rights for everybody else. All right. So it's very strange for if you're working with the doc that you created as a copy, for you to not have to not have access anymore. That's a ghost in the machine. That's a spook. That's the Togolosh. I don't know what's happening there. But just go and make sure that the one you are working with is in fact the one where you are the owner. You can see that here, Jeanette. So please, all of you that you're sure you didn't submit it as a module task, but you still don't have editing access, please go and look at your doc. Please go and click on share. You can see who's got what edit, who's got what rights. If you're working on the right copy, you must be the owner there.
Yes, that's
Louis,
exactly
can
what
I
I
make a
saw too.
suggestion quickly?
Yes.
Or anybody else just ask a question. I'm thinking, look, Jeanette was one of the people who, on the same evening, last week on Monday, when we had our first meeting, she was the one who submitted first, and she was like almost done. She was already by a 5E lesson plan, I remember.
Okay.
I'm thinking, I want to ask Jeanette this question. Do you perhaps have more than one Gmail addresses? Could it have been that you had your 2 email addresses pinned in your taskbar, and then perhaps while you are busy with the one in your OneDrive, sorry, in the Google Drive, perhaps you were signed in with the other email address. I'm just thinking that could be the reason.
I think
I
that's a
don't
very
know.
good point.
I hear what you're saying. I'm going to have a look at that as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I think that's a very, very good point. It's a very good point. Please, everybody, because almost anybody, if you've got a personal Gmail account and you've got a school email account, and both are used for things like Google Drive, you have to be very careful to make sure which one you are signed into. All right. So once again, what you got to do is go to that doc, click on share, and you can see the sharing settings, and you can see which account of yours is the actual owner of that account, of that document. Okay, please go and check that.
Okay, Louis, and then there's another question about the screenshot. A lot of people said in the chat that they wish that the screenshot was the one on the list that they could have said was a problem for them. Could you just perhaps explain the thing about the screenshot, please, if it was a requirement?
No. The screenshot was never a requirement. It was just a way for us to be able to evaluate the extent of your of seeing the version history. It was more like a fun kind of game to do it. I think the fun disappeared quite rapidly for a lot of people, but that was the point of that, for it to be kind of like a treasure hunt. I on purpose didn't put that screenshot as a required skill because it's not such a priority in this module overall, but maybe that's something that we can reflect on. Maybe it is actually something that's really, really important. In that regard, I just didn't want it to become a kind of overbearing issue, which maybe became a self-fulfilling prophecy there. But that was the idea there. All we were really looking for you to do in this case, let me just quickly show you, because I see there's lots of people who had issues with the version history, right? Now, this document that I shared with you guys initially, I gave you all editing access because you can only access the version history of a doc if you've got editing access. Viewers, like you will see for the checklist, viewers do not have access to the version history, okay? And you know, there's a big risk, obviously, in allowing many dozens of people to edit the same document, of course. So for 2 or 3 days, I was constantly checking this document to see maybe what had happened here, or what had gone wrong. Sometimes I found that somebody deleted the whole thing. But luckily, I've got version history, so I could always just restore and make sure that it's there for everybody. So just to run through it for everybody, if I can quickly show you the struggles with the version history. All right, you go to File, you go to Version History, and here you can see version history. All right, and now here, as some of you will know now, you can see on the right here is a list of every single change that has ever been made to this document. I asked you to go and look at what was on the 7th of July. All right, I neatly named it HyperDocs version history example for you, and many of you were able to get there, and you saw a little message that was hidden for you there, like an Easter egg that you could find. So very well done to those of you who are able to get here. If you weren't able to take a screenshot of it, that is fine. It's more the concept of the version history that we wanted you to understand and have a grasp of. All right, the finicky details around screen grabbing wasn't a priority, but if it's something that you guys think we should build in more deeply into the course, that's definitely something to reflect on. So I can definitely look at that. Screen grabbing, it's such a versatile, useful skill across the board for in terms of basic computer literacy. So if you've never been able to do it before, I'd really suggest that you learn how to do that and build it into your practice, because it's very useful. I did leave some information for how to do it on Windows. If you need further help with that, please chat to your mentors. Okay, you can screenshot with Screencast-O-Matic. INSAF, you can just take a shot here. You don't even need to open the snipping tool. You can just use I use Mac, so I'm not sure about Windows, button, Shift and S. And then if you guys want to practice it right now, I think that'll be useful. All right. So what's that? Windows button, Shift S for screenshot, and then you can take a screenshot. Yes.
Okay, Louis, while you're busy with that, Girl Valentine's hand was up and then she put it down. That was earlier when we were chatting to Jeanette.
Okay.
So I don't
Yes,
know if
no.
Girl wants to ask something.
Yeah, as Jeanette was saying, I had the exact same experience where I completed the document, and when I wanted to go back, I had no rights. I had to again ask for access, even though I did the whole copy, and I know I should be the owner of the document because I downloaded it, made a copy, gave it a new name, but I couldn't edit it. So it was a similar situation that Jeanette had.
Look, guys, it's really hard for me to be able to understand what happened there, because as I said, if you made the copy and you're working with your
be the owner, yeah. But I've also
Gail, I can see that you did submit your HyperDoc for module 1. I can see here you did. And if you submit your Google Doc, the document as a module task, you're going to lose editing access until it's been returned. Please, please, please read the instructions. We are not asking you guys to submit your HyperDoc planning documents at all, precisely for this reason. Okay, I can see on this side, you know, where like, and I can count here at least 15 people who submitted their planning document for the module task, and then yes, indeed, you will have lost editing access.
Jeanette has her hand up again.
Yes, Jeanette.
Sorry, Louis. I just checked. I'm busy sending Rivka an email with my screenshots.
Okay.
Both my HyperDoc and my checklist shows my email as owner, but I do not even have the option to ask for editing ability.
Can you edit
when I go in?
I'm just going to check.
When I go into the where I can chat or the comments, it says you do not have permission to add comments. On the little eye, if I click on there, I cannot get in there at all. Editing, suggesting, viewing, they all softer, you know, they just disappear, the words, you can't touch it.
Okay, look, then I think for this individual stuff we're going, and Gail, we can maybe stay for a couple of minutes afterwards to try and deal with this. I understand that it is a broad issue, but from what I can see, the main cause of that is if you submitted your HyperDoc as a module task, because then you do lose editing access. All right. If there was something else going on, I will try and look into it. But if you made a copy and you're the owner of the document, that means that you've got the full rights over that document. So you need to make sure that if you can see who the owner is and that you are actually logged into that email address that says it's the owner of over there. But Jeanette, we'll look at that, and if you and Gail, if you want to stay for a bit afterwards, so we can just look at that and see if there's something going on. I'd happily look at that, because that's obviously going to be a big spanner in the works for you if you're unable to edit that document. But please just make sure you're using the right one every time. Please make sure that you are that you haven't submitted your doc onto the module tasks. It's only right at the end that you're going to do that. Okay. So Jeanette, Gail, I'll happily, and anybody else who wants to stay after the session, I'll happily help you. But I'm on slide 3 and we have 20 minutes left.
Okay, sorry, Gail's hand is up again, unless she just forgot to lower her hand. Gail?
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's
Okay.
sorted. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, great stuff. Okay, everybody. So I'm just going to move on now. I have to move a little bit quicker, but just stop me if there's something important that you want to ask. Okay. So as we said, the skills checklist is there to help keep track of your own development. All right. You're not going to submit it, but please go and use it. Refer back to it. I can see that it is absolutely the version history that caused the most issue for people. I can see people were struggling with other little bits. If I can just also just make sure that you guys that you're aware of it. The idea is very much that you use the tutorial videos in conjunction with the task itself. So please make sure that you go and really pay attention to those videos that are there. It's very, very useful, concise, to the point, and show you step by step how to do things. Okay. I would have loved to go through each of these quickly now. Just to help you. If there are any issues with that specifically, please speak to your mentors. We're all skilled Google users that can help you with all those specific things. So if you also have an issue on your own HyperDoc and you want to communicate with your mentor, you can leave comments for your own mentor at different sections. So let's say I am on this document over here and I want to ask my mentor questions by a certain section. You can highlight where it is, you can add your comment, and you can tag your mentor with the @ @Rivka, and you can say, I need help here. All right. So you can use the document in order to actually communicate with your own mentor as well, to point them specifically towards different sections of it that you need help with. So please make use of that. If you're struggling with something in a particular area, please please communicate with us. Okay. Thank you for that. All right. So just a little bit of important admin. Some of it we've already covered now, so I can go through it quite quickly. Yes, you're working on the same Google Doc throughout. Please try and avoid making multiple copies, because this is, and it's a new way of doing things for the CTLI courses. It is something different to what you are used to. I think a lot of the participants shifted into an automatic look at the module task, submit it on Classroom without really looking through all of module 1 and seeing, oh, this is actually a bit different. We are working on the same live Google Doc. And of course, the purpose of that is to model to you how you could work with a HyperDoc with your students. All right. A HyperDoc is a document that is alive. It is not static. It is a dynamic document. All right. So if you want students to work on a document, you have to be able to provide them with editing access, and you have to be able to track their changes and see the version history and see what has happened in the past. All right. So in a way, you are simulating the student of your HyperDoc here, and we are the teachers, and showing you how it could be used. And I think these kinds of stumbling blocks are extremely important for you to consider, because it's the same kinds of things that you could run into working with the class yourself. So knowing about multiple accounts and how that can get in the way is really important, because it is almost certainly going to be an issue for some students. Okay. Around the module task submissions, it's come up a couple of times, but I'll just repeat it quickly. Again, please do not submit your planning for your HyperDoc as a module task, because then you can't edit it anymore. You are only submitting your own HyperDoc for the course challenge at the end. Other than that, you are just going and marking as done on Classroom, because that signals to us, oh, okay, we should go and leave comments on your document. Okay. You should receive notifications for any comments that you're getting on your doc, or if you go back there, you'll see, okay, your mentor is leaving comments for you there. For my mentees, I haven't been able to get to everything that you submitted last night. Tomorrow morning, I'm getting through all of those. So my apologies for the wait there. I'm not 100% sure where the other mentors are with that, but from my side, by tomorrow noon, you will have feedback from me. All right. Then a very important bit of admin that we need to sort out, now. As you should know, we are going to be working with peers, working with partners. I could hear that some of you have already started working with your partners, which is great, but it's going to be essential for the rest of your you're going to need a partner for after Wednesday's module task submission. So please go and take a look here, because this is going to tell you who you are working with, and it's very important for you to have enough time for you to be able to work with your partner from them as early as you can. Really, for those of you that have already set up your partners and you started communicating, awesome. I'm sure you found some benefit from it. Now, here's the list of partners. Please, let's try and keep this up to date. Don't just remove your name and add it to somewhere else without telling anybody. But what's missing here is a couple of email addresses. If you're in the session and you haven't added your email address to this document yet, please do so now without deleting anything and without removing anybody's names and putting in your name for somebody else. This document is always on the mentors page of the website, but I've linked it in the chat again now. If you haven't added your email yet, we will just have to go and manually do it tomorrow. But we'll make 100% sure that come Wednesday, when you need to work with a partner, that the email address is there, so you can share it with them and work with each other. Okay. So please just be aware of this document. Please be aware of this document. It's on the mentors page at all times. Thank you, Salwa. Thank you, Monique. It's on the mentors page at all time. You can always go and get it there. Thank you, Sanshia. I think Lee, we're waiting for you. You can see there's a cursor there ready. But so as you can see, providing editing rights, it's quite risky. I think we're all adults here, so I'm happy to take that chance. But it is very much something to be aware of. but your savior here is version history, because it means you can actually provide editing access to people and there's no risk of losing everything. You cannot, it's impossible. Okay, thank you very much. That's the admin. That's the admin that I wanted to just address over there. Let's go back to our slide deck. Okay, and then so you finished. All of you submitted module 2. You finished up until module 2 yesterday, and of course now you are working on module 3, which I think for some of you is probably a place that you start with often, which is what can I put in my lesson? What media can I use? All right. Now, I purposefully designed this course to delay this step, because I think in the educational technology world, often we are jumping onto the bells and whistles of a tool rather than thinking how can a tool be used in order to achieve our educational goals. All right. So it's very important to first think about where it is that you want to go, and then starting to gather and populating your HyperDoc with the tools that you plan on using to get to your outcomes. All right. So it's here where we're really focusing on adding images, adding hyperlinks, and then using external tools. The 2 external tools that we have emphasized as basics that you absolutely should be able to do is Google Drive and Google Forms. With those, you can build interactivity into any Google Doc, but we've also provided you with more ideas there for what kind of interaction you can build in. Please go and make sure you read the module 3 enrichment, because we go in depth there with a bunch of awesome interactive tools that you can use. So please don't rush this. Even if you think you're already done with module 3, please go and really take the time to go and look through the resources that we put together for you there. Okay. At this point, how are we feeling? A little bit better, or still like poor Dawson's Creek on the left here? I'll give it 30 seconds. Okay. Looking good. Looking good. Looking good. Okay. All right. So the big question that a lot of you are probably wondering about is around the course challenge. Now, what I wanted to do is to talk to you guys about what the expectations are and to just unpack the rubric a little bit. I'm going to zip through this quite quickly. My apologies, but just so that if there are any questions around it. So there are 2 sections or 2 parts of your course challenge. All right. On the one hand is the peer evaluation that you need to do. The idea here is for you to be able to learn from each other as much as you learn from us and as much as you learn from the website. It's also important for you to actually learn to develop that critical eye, so that you, and with your knowledge of what a HyperDoc is, you can actually go and evaluate other HyperDocs to be able to with a critical lens, so that you can really try and improve your own practice. The more we expose ourselves to examples and communicate with each other, the more we learn. All right. Now, if you go and look under the course challenge, you will see that there's like a checklist that we've provided. This is not the word checklist is a bit of a stupid word to use here, but let's call it that. A list of factors to consider. You'll see on the website, there's an actual, under the course challenge, there's a list of questions to ask yourself when you are evaluating your peer. All right. Obviously, those are questions you should be asking yourself for your own HyperDoc as well. But that is something that will provide you with direction. Do I need to show that list of factors, or do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. Let me quickly open them up. Everyone, I have to apologize in advance. We are going to have to go 5 minutes over time here. If you need to leave. Okay, Petra, I'm going to get back to your question in a second. It's a good question. So guys, if we look at the website here, and under the module 4 course challenge, and there's a bit here that I want to address. Okay. Well, I'm talking about the peer feedback here. All right. So once you've shared your HyperDoc with one of the other participants in this course, all right, making sure it's somebody with the same mentor. If you're using what's on the doc and on the mentor's doc, you'll be fine. All right. And these are the kinds of basic things that you are checking for each other. Okay. Making sure it has a title. Does it have clearly structured content? Is there variety of multimedia being used for inquiry? Do the links work? All right. Are the links there? Do they work? Are there clear instructions? All right. And does it include opportunities for students to respond? If your HyperDoc doesn't have this yet, don't worry. That's what you're working on over the next couple of days. But it's by the time you share it with your mentor, with your peer, on say Thursday, you want to make sure that all of these things are here. If you've been working on each task and implementing and practicing as we go, most of this should be here. You might just want to do some final polishing and finalization of your HyperDoc. All right. Please don't share it with them Saturday night and then ask them to give you feedback by Sunday. All right. The sooner you can share it with them, the easier it's going to be for them. Now, there's one aspect here that's a little bit confusing, and I don't want you to overcomplicate it for yourself too much. You've been working on this Google Doc now until the end. If you've been doing everything well, then your HyperDoc that planning document will basically be ready to use. It's one step away. I think what's confusing here is this idea of a brand new HyperDoc. I actually don't know how to put it in there, but we are not asking you to create a HyperDoc from scratch, completely a new one at the end of this all. No, not at all. All we are saying there is that your final HyperDoc is going to be it's not just your planning that you're handing in. You are using that planning to create your final HyperDoc. Please don't start that from scratch. You can make a copy if you want to start from scratch. That's fine. It is up to you. But you can basically just use the same Google Doc that you've been using all this time and neaten it up, polish it up, and that can be your HyperDoc. Absolutely. Does that make sense? Okay. Petra's asking how much. Okay, Natalie, I'll get back to that now. How much emphasis should be placed on the actual linked document? Okay, should a quiz allow for the Bloom all the Bloom taxonomy levels? Ideally, yes. I think it's important. You don't need to have every single type of instruction word from Bloom's there, but it is quite important that your HyperDoc includes a range of instructions and question words that cover the whole range of cognitive skills. Ideally, you'd want your HyperDoc to be able to contain that whole range. Natalie, can I ask you to unmute yourself and just ask a question around that final HyperDoc instructions? Natalie? Or Megan?
Hi, it's Megan. Hope you can hear me.
Yes.
So I just really want clarification. That part A, is that the planning HyperDoc?
Yes.
Okay. And
So-
then part B is the HyperDoc that we will submit for the course challenge.
Look, they're in my mind, they're one and the same thing. all right, the way in which your planning has developed is by structuring your different sections. That's going to end up being your hyperdoc. All right, if you planned it step by step according to the module, by the end of module 3, you'll have 95% of your hyperdoc on that document. All right. Now, what you want to do at that stage is up to you. If you want to then completely start from scratch using your planning on a new hyperdoc, that's fine. You can do that. But for most of you, what I've been seeing on your planning document is that you're actually well on your way to having a ready prepared hyperdoc, and you can just use that. All right. This wording here, create a brand new hyperdoc for your classroom, is confusing. I'll acknowledge that. Don't think of brand new as being as meaning you have to completely like scrap everything that you've done. You can do all of this beginning to end on the same Google Doc. There won't be any issues with that. Some of you might find that by the end of the planning process, there's so much going on there that you want to start from scratch and structure it in a more neat way, or you've learned new things and the original direction you were going in, you don't necessarily want to stay with. That's also fine. But quite literally, you can use the same document for absolutely everything. Part A, Part B, Part C.
Okay. Because essentially what I did was I created a hyperdoc as planning in terms of like a lesson plan. And then I'm working on a separate hyperdoc for the course challenge, which has all of the links and is specifically for the learners. So I've got 2 docs. One is literally one that a teacher would use as a lesson plan, and the second one is the one that the children would use, in class.
Okay, I mean, how you want to skin the cat is fine, but I think this document will ultimately be seen by students in the end. So it's important that your mentor is able to see both of those things. All right. What I'm trying to show you all here is that you can go from planning to your final document as a consistent process. If that doesn't suit your own kind of planning process and needing to separate those things, that's also fine. You must just communicate that with your mentor, because they might think that you're not following the links. Make sure that document you're talking about, that's intended to be your actual hyperdoc, is shared with your mentor.
Okay, perfect. So Rivka would have seen both of them, but the one for the learners is what I'll be submitting as a course challenge.
Yes, that's fine.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great stuff. Natalie, is that a little bit clearer?
Yes, Louis, I think she's good.
Okay, great
Yes.
stuff. Okay, no, look, good question. I don't really, it's really important that we that we clear these things out. And because we're being experimental in our own approach here, the communication is essential. Okay, guys, it is 8 o'clock, and there's so much that I still wanted to share with you guys. I am going to just try and quickly focus on the essentials, and then we'll try and exactly, Natalie, the planning will be in the version history. Exactly. So that's why exactly. We can always see what you did in your steps leading up until the final version, right? So if you erase all your planning and you use that same document, we can see the steps that you took. And that's really important for us. So for me personally, I'd love it if you just use the same docs for the whole thing, beginning to end. Would definitely for my people, I would do that. But I can't force you to do that. If you want to do it in a different way, also fine. Also fine. Okay, so let me just quickly go back to this and just explain to you what. So what I wanted to do is to focus on the rubric for you, and just to try and sometimes rubric is an instructor speak, and it's not always so clear what it is that we actually mean with it. So I wanted to just unpack some of the key kind of ideas or words here. I'm very sorry I laid it out in a way that was supposed to make it nice and bit by bit so that it's not overwhelming, but I'm just going to go straight to this. Okay, this is what we're this is the descriptor on the rubric. It's on Classroom already. You can go see it under classwork for the course challenge. You can go see it. Okay, and this is the top category, right? So this is for the full marks master. This is if you've done absolutely everything the way that we were expecting it and beyond. Okay, so all the sections must be there, and that is all the sections. When we're talking about that topic and the timing and the learning outcomes, that needs to be there, because it's not just for us, it's for your students as well. All right, so that they know where they are going. Have you followed each module's instructions, or is there evidence of all the skills? All right, we are looking for all the information being contained according to the instructions that we've given. What's very important is that your HyperDoc is coherent and ends up being in a logical sequence towards your learning outcome. All right. So if your learning outcome is an aspect of geometry, then all your sections should build up towards that and not be 5 completely unrelated random things. All right. They should build on each other and they should relate to your learning outcome. So it's really important for us to see that. We want to see the ability to implement that pedagogical framework. Can you actually implement the 5E model? So for some of my mentees, I see that under Explore, they actually ask the students to explain something which maybe belongs in a different section. So, you know, we really wanted to go and understand those models because it's very useful for your own planning in future. I think some of us as educators have a natural instinct around that sequence, or just experiential knowledge around how a good lesson unfolds. But it's, you know, no matter how seasoned and experienced we are, it helps to look at new ways to structure things and new ways to do things. So it's useful. We are looking for interactivity. This is now definitely the buzzword of this course, and I'm very happy that it's the buzzword of this course, because that is going to be essentially what we're looking for. If you give them a document of just videos to watch or articles to read, that is very limited creativity. All right, limited interactivity. I'll get to that in a second for ideas around that, but that is what we are looking for. All right, we want to see that you've added instructions to your HyperDoc in a way that's appropriate to your target audience. All right, that it's appropriate to the people that are going to be using the HyperDoc in the end. We want to see evidence of all those Google skills. All right, so they should all be there if you've done this HyperDoc according to the process, according to each module. We'll see tables, we will see links, we will see images. All of those things we'll see there. All right, but ultimately the most important thing is that we're seeing evidence of learning. All right, we want to see that you took something from this course and you were able to implement it. All right, please don't. Originality is good, of course, but please don't go and completely do your own thing or just use a template and just rework that. We really want to see that there's significant evidence of learning from this course. Okay, if you want to use other ideas and so on, that's absolutely fine. But for this, we've shown you certain content. We want to see, can you apply that in a relevant way? Okay, so essentially, what do we want? Your HyperDoc should show creativity. It should be interactive. It should be structured. It should show what you have learned, and ideally be original. Yes, we said if you want to start with a template and use that as the basis and rework it, that is fine, but you still need to add your original flavor to that, not just reuse what somebody else used and then that's it. Okay, we're really trying to give you the skills here to build something original. So in summary, that is what we are actually looking for. Okay, to build interactivity, what can you do? We've given you a couple of options. On Classroom. All right, you can use Google Drive. You know, provide a link of resources for them to explore. What I also want to emphasize is that you can think laterally and also think how some of these interactions can go the other way. So yes, you could provide a Google Drive folder for your students to explore, but why not ask your students to collect their own Google Drive of resources that they've gone and collected around a topic or a theme, and then they share that link with you as the teacher. So it's like their own repository of research that they are doing. So I want you to always think kind of symbiotically or in two directions around this, that any tool that you are using as a teacher in the HyperDoc, also think, how could my students actually use the same tool, but in a different way, in a way that's getting them engaged and involved in the lesson. All right. You'll have seen that a lot of the HyperDocs examples allows students to work directly on the Google Doc. All right. So build that in. It's a very simple, basic way to build interactivity. It's really easy. A lot of you have been doing this already, but I think there can be more. All right. Something that's quite important, and this is less technological, but what really helps with interactivity is if the activities you're giving students relate to the individual, that's something that asks them to bring themselves to the activity. So for example, with the Google Maps activity in the example number 4, the geography example that you looked at, students were asked to bring their own experiences and their own history to the educational tool and to the educational environment. All right. So it's not superficial interaction, it's meaningful interaction between relevant and things that are important to the students themselves. So it's important to try and think of that when you build it in. Okay, we've asked you to also use Google Forms. Very easy way to build that in. And then, of course, you can experiment with other tools. Our requirements for the kind of a good pass, you can use Google Drive and you can use Google Forms and you'll be fine. As you know, if you've shown creativity, it's nice decorated, etc., etc. Those two tools will get you quite far in terms of interactivity. However, for the complete mastery level, we do want to see that you've taken an extra step and you've gone to experiment with other tools. Two obvious easy ones for you to use that we've linked there is Edpuzzle and Padlet. All right, please go and use those. All right, and make sure that you are sharing the correct link. Because I had to rush this in bit now, but it is 8:10 already, and we all have family and work. So at this point in time, can I ask you one more time to just tell me how you are feeling at this point in time, and if there are any questions that you have got, please now, if you want to stay behind, ask questions or listen to questions, you're welcome to. But other than that, I will have to say thank you very much. We have to wrap it up here, unfortunately. Colleen, if there are some questions that I can help you with, I would be happy to do so. Natalie, Colleen, Natalie, I'd be happy to. Natalie, do you have a question?
Louis, are you having your session now, or must we wait till people leaving, or can we ask the questions?
Look, okay, let me say it this way. Thank you, everybody. If you have to leave now, I will say farewell and good luck. But I'd like us to keep recording this if possible. All right, I'd like us to keep recording this if possible, because I think any questions might be relevant to everybody else. Natalie, if you would like to set up a one-on-one session with your mentor, we are here. All right, we said at the beginning as well, if you need one-on-one support, please reach out to us. We want to help you. We want to support you through this process. So please do that. I understand your microphone is not working at the moment. All right, but we can still make a plan to help you. All right, there's still a week left for the submission, so please reach out. Okay. Anna, I see you've got a question. Thank you, everybody. Good night. For those with the Q&A session, we'll continue after this.
Yes, good evening, sir. I just need to know, how do I put together that sample of HyperDocs? Because I checked the example that you have given us, but I don't know how to put them together.
Can you repeat that question again? It was just cutting out.
I'm saying I'm not sure how to put all the HyperDoc together to be a lesson on its own.
Okay. Have you finished with module 2 at this point in time?
Yes, I think I'm done with it.
So at this point in time, you should have a table that is structured into 5 sections. You've thought about how the 5 E's can be implemented into that, and you've thought about what kinds of how to structure your HyperDoc overall. At the moment, it won't look like something that you can give to students. Absolutely not. But I think after Wednesday's submission, when you've added some activities and you've added some media that aligns with your outcomes, it will start taking shape in a way that looks like something that you could actually give to students. So what I would say is just go and work very thoroughly through module 3, and you can start getting ideas for what you can put together. But your mentor, which is me, I will provide feedback for you and support you with that process.
Oh, okay. You don't have to put them together as if we are going to do the PowerPoint.
No. Remember, a HyperDoc is going to be something that you give to students to work with. All right.
Oh, okay.
The HyperDoc itself is the lesson. It's a lesson contained on a document.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
No problem, Anna. Next, Megan, do you have another question?
I do, yes. So I'm just trying to remember what it was. I've actually avoided using any Google Docs or text boxes or Google Forms because I wanted to focus on other apps which I'm not as familiar with. Is that okay?
Look, I'd say definitely do that. All right. Definitely do that. But we do also need to see that you've kind of like taken in what did happen in this course, right? So I would say just humor us here.
Okay, because I've got a Kahoot, I've got Edpuzzles,
Wonderful,
I've got Padlets.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so
Awesome. You're classic one of these students who's not just reading and answering the question, but wants to write a philosophical 2-page essay in response to a question that's asking you for 2 sentences.
Yeah, overachiever.
Please, as teachers, we all know how it can be. Just if you can show us the basics of it, and then of course, if you want to extend yourself and go and go and do new things and interesting things, absolutely.
So ideally, it would be good if I did include at least one of those basic.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Please.
Thanks.
Yes, please. Okay, Colleen.
It's actually Colin.
Colin, sorry.
Louis, so my question is on, I accidentally shared my document with you and I don't have access to it. So, to you and my partner. So now you sent me a email today that you have commented on my task 1. So obviously I cannot see it because I used my same document that I used for task 1. I worked on task 2 because that is what the task said I'm supposed to do. So I just continue working on the same document. So now I don't see any comments or anything.
So, Colleen, I didn't actually receive a shared document from you.
But I shared it the first time of my first task. I did, and then you and then I did my second task on that one. So I basically deleted the column thing that we had to do, and I worked on my second one on that same document. And now I don't have any rights or anything, and I don't see any comments. I don't know what is going on with this whole thing now. And Louis? Louis, what happened now? Yes, I know. I'm just gone. I don't know what's gone on.
You're not gone, Colleen. I think Louis
Oh,
froze. I think Louis froze. Colleen, can I ask you while we're waiting for Louis, did you share it to with Louis to his email address?
yes, dear, and to my partner.
And your partner was able to comment?
Yes, yes. Oh, I can't even remember if he commented, but Louis was commented, and then
Hi, everybody. I'm back.
I see you back.
I don't know what happened there. Apologies. Colin, I didn't receive a shared document from you.
But how is it possible if I did do it?
Did you?
And I shared it with you.
Did you submit it on Google Classroom?
No, I shared it. Yes, and I added the done thing and all that on oh, I'm so confused now.
Let me just take a look here. Because hold up. Because I see there's a spelling thing here. For on Teams here, there's an E on your name, but you're saying Colin.
Oh no, because I'm not a teacher. I'm a subject advisor. So the department gave me an E because there's somebody with my name also when they made my westerncape.gov email.
Okay, got you. So here I see, Colin, here I see the sky is not the limit is the document that you
Yeah,
shared
that's
with me.
the second task.
Look, if you use the same document, that's fine. Or you just keep on. This looks great. This very much looks like it is on the right track. It looks wonderful.
Yeah, I still have to work on it.
Sure.
For my third part. But now what I'm asking you is I don't have editing rights on my own document. And
So
then also,
Colin,
I can't see your comment that you made on my task 1 because I don't find it.
Thank you. Can I come in here quickly?
Yes, please.
Colin, Louis, I'm so glad because I was feeling silly. That's exactly what happened to me.
Oh, thank goodness.
Rivka commented. I read the comments, and when I came back, I had no editing. So then, right. So then I had to go and make it again, and I'm stuck there now again. I've sent an email to Rivka. I can forward it to you as well. It shows I am the owner, but that you know how you've got the words are I don't know how to say this now, but it's hulle is dof. Die woord owner is dof.
Yeah.
As ek ingaan so dit wys ek kan glad nie op hom werk nie. Ek kan nie eens vir julle vra.
Okay.
Maak my editor weer nie.
So okay. So
Could I ask you something? Was that Jeanette that spoke now?
That was Jeanette.
Yes.
Could I ask you to, I know that you sent me an email now, but could you perhaps just share your screen?
Oh, no.
We also have the right to do that.
I will do that with pleasure. Please just guide me. Share content. Is that where I must click?
Yeah.
Louis, do you think that is better if she shares a
That's
screen?
fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm sure there's lots of people here that's also worried about that.
So how do I tell it to share which window it must share?
You should be able to open share tray, and then you can choose a specific tab, or even your whole screen.
Let me just do that. Oh, I see. Let me go here. I'm on the HyperDocs the skills checklist. I'm sharing that. Just tell me if it's coming through. What am I doing wrong?
There we go.
Now it's telling me stop. Is it coming?
Yeah, we can see it.
So this is my the checklist that I started working on last week.
Annette, can you see that banner at the top?
Where's the banner?
It looks like you've got a Google Drive storage issue that's stopping you from editing files.
I don't have that problem. I wonder if Colin has the same.
No, I can see what Colin's problem is here.
I
No,
don't.
no, I can see what Colin's problem is here. Colin, you submitted your Google Doc under module 2, which means you've lost editing access.
Yes, but Louis, okay, I understand that, but now I'm still asking you, why can't I see the comments that you made on my task 1?
If it's the same document that you submitted, then you're going to lose some of that access. Because I can see here now that for this, the sky is the limit document, you're not the owner of this document. It says Marshall. It says Marshall is the owner of this document.
Yes, that's what it, and but that happened from the beginning. You see, Marcel was the owner of that original thing that she made, eh? And then I did my task on your document, and then I shared my first task with you, and then I just did my second task on the same document.
Oh,
And
I think, sorry. I think I know what happened there. That was Marshall's document, right? Then you did not make a copy. I think you edited the original document. And so that's why it still belongs to Marshall. So that first document, you were supposed to make a copy of it and then to make it your own.
but I did that because that is what the task said I was supposed to do.
So that copy is not in your drive.
No. So what do you think? Should I just start over with my first task or what?
Wait, can I ask you something? When you made a copy, what did you name it?
You know, I actually left it with the word copy on. And then when I started with my second task,
Yes.
I deleted that part of copy and then I named it The Sky is Not the Limit. Do you understand? And then that became my part 2 of my task, the module 2 task.
Rivka, I had the exact same problem because I've also made a copy of Marshall's document and it also named it copy of, which tells me it's the copy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I've downloaded it to make it sure that it's coming onto my side of stuff. But it also says that Marshall is the owner when I wanted to do some changes. So somewhere along the line, either I did something incorrectly with the download and copy. So, yeah, I can understand what she's saying.
Okay, I just want to say something. So, I'm sure you, girl, also have many tabs open on top in your taskbar. Like I also work that way. So I know with Marshall, if Marshall shares something, right, and we need to edit it, then we need to make a copy of it. But every time when I open up that document that Marshall shared, then on the right corner, it actually asks me, you are signed in as. And then you must either click OK or you must choose the email address that you actually want to, because sometimes it jumps to the different email addresses. So even though you didn't have Marshall's username and password, because it was open at the beginning in Marshall's username, maybe at that particular point it was still copied in Marshall's drive and not in your drive, if you get what I'm saying.
Okay.
So maybe when we make a copy, please then make sure that in your right-hand corner you are signed in your correct email address. I don't know, Louis, if you understand.
Oh yeah, no, I know. Look, the login issue is definitely a likely issue here. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it. Escape logging in under Marshall's logging in under Marshall's. But I just want to show you. I just want to show you guys here as just a run through of her sorts. And I know that you know, if you follow this process and it didn't work out that way, it's hard for me to know. But I want to show you guys here. So I'm going to work with a document which is not owned by me. It's owned by Christu. some of you will know. So this is a document, WhatsApp for remote learning. I'm not the owner of this document. When I look at the sharing settings of it, I can see Christo Davids is the owner. Some of us have editing access, but Christo is the owner. All right. If I go and I click on File, make a copy, and I make the copy, let me open up the new version. The copy that I just made, as you said, it'll say copy of.
Okay, we can't see it again.
Yeah, I'm opening it now. Sorry, it's just loading.
But Louis, that's exactly what I did. And when I shared it with you, I shared it just as the name copy of.
But so then when I now look at share, I can see now I am the owner. Okay. Now, what might be the case? I think what might be the case, and I'll go look into this a little bit. But if you submit that document just once on Google Classroom, it transfers the ownership from you to another person. It's going to transfer the ownership of that document to whoever's the admin of that Google Classroom. Because it actually, when you submit it, it actually gets saved into our Google Drive folder, and we become the owners of that document. So can you remember if you submitted it for the Module 1 task, Jeanette?
No, I didn't submit it. Yeah, but I'm busy cleaning my Google Drive a bit. So let's see if it works. Thank you for noticing.
Google Classroom. I know that.
Louis, in fact, with all of this discussion, what I've now gone to do, I have now unsubmitted my thing so that I can be the owner again of the document. Because you said if we submitted and our mentor didn't work through it, we won't have any rights. So I just went back and unsubmitted it so that I could work on the document.
Okay.
So that was my work around having access to my document again.
Yes, it shouldn't be submitted at any point in time until the course challenge, basically. That's going to be the easiest way to avoid this issue.
Just unsubmit.
Yes.
Yeah. You see, Jeanette's problem was that the Google Drive was full.
Yes. All right. That is what that.
I've seen that, but I didn't realize that was the problem.
Another drive. Sorry, can I just say, Najima?
Najima's hand's been up for a long time.
Yes.
Najima, how can we help? Najima? Sorry, she probably got so bored of us not answering a question that she's left now. Najima? Maybe it was just a goodbye wave.
And Marshall is also here. Her hand was up.
I was just saying hello, that's all.
Hi, Marshall.
Hi, Marshall.
Yeah, but I can clarify that, Lou. Definitely, you mustn't submit your first document. It was, remember, you were just supposed to share it with your mentors. That's all.
Yes, I think we figured out now that with Colin it was the submission that made it couldn't edit it. And Jeanette, please just let us know after you've freed some space if you are able to edit your doc.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will do so.
Cool. Any other questions? Anybody?
Could Marcel just give us access again to documents?
I was on mute. Sorry, may I ask a question quickly?
Najima's here, yes? Najima?
Yeah, okay, sorry, thanks. Okay, so I made a completely new document for module 2, and I know I actually submitted it to Louis. So now when I go in there, then I noticed, when I went into my Google Drive, I noticed that like I had highlighted certain stuff and did certain things, and I see it's like all missing now. So the document that you perhaps have, Louis, will it have the original things that I did, or would it be different? Because the way I look at it in the drive now, I have no access to it. But I see that like I highlighted the words like explore and elaborate and all those things with different colors. Now I notice that it's all gone. Can you perhaps explain to me, please?
Yes, Najama, did you submit the?
I didn't understand that.
Oops, sorry. Sorry. I think I submitted it to you. Yes. Last night.
So if you submitted it on Google Classroom for the module, then it's going to lose a lot of the information. I can show you what I'm seeing now.
Okay.
But
Sure.
we actually don't want you to submit your HyperDoc.
Okay, I misunderstood. Yes, I think I was, in such a
No problem.
frenzy trying to get done with it.
It's clearly something that we can communicate about better as well. So
Yes,
don't worry about that. I just want to see if I can open up this. So please unsubmit this because I'm not going to provide the comments for it here. But this is what I can see of yours. I can see your comments and I can see your structure.
Sorry. Yeah, so that's what it looks like, right? Like what I did last night, but now when I go into it, looks like completely different. So what must I do? Unsubmit it.
Just unsubmit it. Make sure the document is shared with me, and then I'll be able to see the version history and everything that's happened there.
So how do I share it with you? In which way do I do that? Oh, I know how to share. No, it's fine. I know what to do. It's fine.
Yes.
Thanks.
Great.
So really
Thank you.
looking good, Najima.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm beginning to think that maybe there was a little mix-up, Louis, in terms of the fact that I wanted people to do a second document, and you were kept on talking about one document.
Yes, it was always that. Yes, I mean that was what very much. Even the final course challenge document is using the same document. I think a couple of people were thrown off by the instructions around creating a brand new HyperDoc.
Yes, because for me, I couldn't see that. Remember, the HyperDoc goes to your learners.
Yes.
So I couldn't see how you're going to create, how you share your planning document with your learners.
Well, I think planning documents also it's a working document that's being built from scratch into the final product.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. Maybe you can make that explicit somewhere in the chat.
I feel like I did speak about it quite extensively in this.
But I'm sure not everybody was here tonight.
No. It was about 35 people that are here. Yes. Now we can look at we are recording this session as well, so we'll upload that, and I'll just try and emphasize.
And maybe you can just actually add over there is create a brand new one or use the same one. So we don't need to change it so much.
Well, I did add that when I found this here, when I found these additions to this page, I did add here. You can make a copy to try and that, but it's this phrasing of a brand new HyperDoc that.
So it's my fault.
No,
it's fine. It's fine. Okay.
No. I mean, it's definitely something that we gotta just communicate clearly. If we're doing things in this like in a new interesting way, we just gotta make sure that we're communicating around it properly.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna leave now. Thank you, guys. Okay, carry on. Bye-bye.
Okay. Anybody else that has questions? Anybody else? Okay, I think that Avusi, how can I help?
Hi everyone. Hi Louis.
Hi Avusi.
Yeah. I just wanna know. You said unsubmitting or just to take off the document is the only way to gain your
access.
To gain access and to be the author.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you submitted your actual planning doc, then then yes, that's how you can regain access to it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Hi, Louis.
Yes.
It's Adrian here.
Hi, Adrian.
I've had a bit of a delay, but I've just completed my task. I sent an email, an apology. I had a bit of a crazy week, so I've just completed 2 now. Is it okay if I submit it tonight?
Yeah.
In fact, I have sent it. And my problem, I'm not sure if my module 1 was completed. I didn't get much problem feedback. So I did get a sort of response from you. I'm not sure if it meant that I'd had a missing task or anything. But I just started my document now, and I've shared it. I've shared both because I've listened to everyone's problems. So I've shared a copy, and I've shared the document, and I shared made a copy of, just to prevent some of the problems that people have been reporting.
Okay. I'll take
So
a
yes, it's called macro environment business strategies. So I've submitted a copy of, which I've checked, and I am able to edit. I went back and I am able to edit and carry on tomorrow and work towards module task 3. But I've just basically done a layout of, I still have to include my videos and all of the decorations. It's a very basic document just to get just to sort of have a plan for task 2, and then I'll make the next progress tomorrow.
No problem.
Tomorrow onwards.
At this stage, it's that basic structure that we're looking for. All right. So,
Yes.
so if you're a bit behind with module 2, that's fine. But you will
You
have
know,
some-
we've all had a crazy start to term 3,
Oh, yeah.
so I'm just going to keep it. I understand, and I'm enjoying using docs. I'm telling you why. Just at the end of last term, my Microsoft license expired, and it was right in the middle of the time that I didn't want to. It was right at the time of that riots and protests. So I didn't want to go into any malls to go and get a license, and I could have renewed it online actually. But then my HOD told me that why do that? Wait for schools to start and get IT to come out. So we logged a call, and we received a call from IT today for them to come and install with the department's license, the Microsoft. But I'm finding that with Google Docs, you can actually access your documents, and they actually had a few there already from previous usage. So I'm finding that using Google Docs actually makes your work accessible across time, actually, as long as you're signed into Google. So you don't have to lose a flash drive or lose a laptop or miss a hard drive. It sits there in cyberspace, and you're able to access documents. I was able to find documents I saved back in 2013. You know?
No, it's the beauty of cloud storage is that you can work from anywhere.
And you're yes, anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that, you know what, I'm being a bit quiet on this course tonight because I was actually signed into the digital collaboration meeting as well. So I was doing 2 meetings at the same time. I'm doing the digital collaboration with Khairu.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see how the next 2 weeks go, because I'm hoping to finish both courses.
Sure. Well, and they can also potentially feed into each other as well, because you might find that there's some digital collaboration tools.
Now we talked about slides tonight and slide sharing and things like that. So I want to actually do both.
Wonderful. I spent quite a bit of time on that digital collaboration course as well. So
okay, cool. Yes. Okay, cool. So that's cool. I think I'm in the right space.
Awesome.
Thanks. Have a good evening.
Thanks.
I'm going now. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Louis, can I stop the recording now?
Yes, Colin, thank you so much for that. It's very strange to us.